Coming up ahead in this episode of Xtalks Spotlight.
So there are three factors that influence manufacturing scaling strategy during the different stages of a product's life cycle. The first of these is the volume of demand of the product. The second is the urgency of that demand for clinical supply. And the third is the cost of goods for production. So at FUJIFILM, we've worked hard to develop a manufacturing ecosystem that can flexibly adapt to meet the requirements for each of these three factors.
One of the big criticisms for the single-use systems, single-use facilities, that they throw it away a lot of plastics. So what we designed into the Symphonix, we not call it anymore single-use, we call it disposable. It means that we can reuse the flow path within a validated campaign window, so we can use it 5 or even more batches for the same flow path, which can reduce significantly the incineration cost.
Hello, and welcome to Xtalks Spotlight, illuminating insights from subject matter experts and industry thought leaders. I'm Sonia Hunt. In this episode, we're exploring how next-generation single-use manufacturing ecosystems can redefine speed, flexibility, and scale in modern biologics production.
Biologics teams today need manufacturing models that move fast and adjust to changing clinical demand. But traditional systems can slow that down. Flexible single-use facilities offer a new approach, allowing teams to set up quickly, start batches sooner, and use new scaling approaches. In this episode of Xtalks Spotlight, I spoke with Azam, Razzaq, and Tibor Nagy from FUJIFILM Biotechnologies about how next-generation systems support speed, flexibility, and scale. We looked at how single-use setups shorten time to clinic, how new scaling models expand supply options, and how global platform consistency helps reduce development risk. For anyone working in early phase or clinical manufacturing, this Xtalks Spotlight offers clear, practical insights on reducing bottlenecks and staying agile. Thank you for taking the time for the spotlight, Azam and Tibor.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Yeah.
Now, before we get to our questions, I thought it might be helpful to define a few terms that our audience will be hearing throughout our discussion. Tibor, could you give us a brief overview of some of these?
So one of them is the manufacturing ecosystem. So this manufacturing ecosystem for us in FUJIFILM, it means that it's an integrated environment, and it's included the operation excellence, technical innovation, standardization, and it covers science and technology, all process and all the facility globally, including single-use and stainless steel, and support all the product life cycle. This is the unified operational philosophy. So that is one thing I would like to clarify. The second one is Borealis. This will come up in the conversation later. Borealis is a flexible, single-use multimodal facility. It's placed in Billingham in the UK side, and this is one of the largest single-use biologics facility in Europe. This is a mid-scale facility, so it's good to know that the maximum scale what we can operate is 5,000 liter, and it was designed to challenge all the speed to the market, the operational efficiency, and reduce environmental impact. The other one is called Symphonix. This is a multifunctional downstream equipment, and it has got disposable flow path and is developed by FUJIFILM. And the last one is a Kojo-X. The Kojo-X is a Japanese word, and it means manufacturing, and is a unified operational philosophy. And within the manufacturing ecosystem, it's give a guidance how to start, how to run the facilities, the sites, and how to introduce standardized technology over the globe in the different facilities.
Excellent, thank you. Now on to our first question. Tibor, how does working in a flexible single-use facility help teams speed up early phase work and clinical supply? And for innovators who need fast batch readiness and can't wait for large stainless steel capacity, what does this setup make possible?
For early phase program, the speed is everything. Every week of delay can push the clinical trial start, jeopardize the funding milestone of the innovators, and increasing the program risk for the innovators as well. The single-use flexible facilities are built for compress the timelines, especially when you cannot wait for the 20K stainless steel capacity when opening up. How the single-use facility able to accelerate the clinical supply? Firstly, it can provide much faster startup and minimal changeover time. With a single use, you can eliminate the CIP, the cleaning in place, and the SIP, which is the sterilization in place activities. And you can quickly swap the pre-sterilized, usually gamma irradiated or X-ray irradiated flow path, quickly set up the equipment. And if you quickly set up the equipment, it results that you can make faster the turnaround on the clean rooms. That's the major bottleneck removed from the multi-product stop-start clinical campaign. So this is one of the biggest advantage and generate speed in the single-use facility. Secondly, the single-use facility can provide a very agile scaling, and it can match the clinical demand much better than the stainless steel. The early program rarely need constant high-volume manufacturing. They only need 1 or 2 mid to large-scale batch every few months, or sometimes you need a few batch in mid-scale. This is a 5,000-liter scale batches around the clinical trial times. Occasionally, they're using the few batches for new indication. So you can see that is very sporadic. It's not fitting very well for the 20K facilities. We can utilize high turnover ratio second generation single-use bioreactor, like a Thermo Fisher Dynodrive family, which allow to run 500 liter to 5,000 liters production scale. It can be either fed batch or perfusion process. This can be done without re-engineering the plant. We can save time between the product and the processes. So this is the second big advantage. The third one, we can simplify the downstream operation. So we can set up the plant which has a modality agnostic platform. I mean that this is using a multifunctional downstream equipment. That one of the examples, the FUJIFILM SYMPHONEX equipment. It can be configured both batch, connected, continuous operation, parallel cycles, scale on, and any kind of operation basically in the downstream. You can reconfigure very quickly, depend on the titers, the timelines, the molecule needs. No need to re-engineer the plant again. Everything can be on the same physical footprint. So this three is the most important. The bottom line, basically, the 20,000 liter stainless steel train is fantastic for steady, high throughput, commercial supply, but not really ideal for sporadic clinical demand. Single-use design fills the gap, removing the cleaning bottleneck, enabling rapid reconfiguration upstream and downstream. And this can be done without compromising the GMP quality and control.
Great, thank you, Tibor. Now, Azam, I wanted to ask you about new ways of scaling. How are approaches like scale-on with connected or cyclic processing helping single-use facilities support a wider range of clinical supply needs? And how do these models improve schedule agility and cost efficiency?
So there are 3 factors that influence manufacturing scaling strategy during the different stages of a product's life cycle. The first of these is the volume of demand of the product. The second is the urgency of that demand for clinical supply. And the third is the cost of goods for production. So at FUJIFILM, we've worked hard to develop a manufacturing ecosystem that can flexibly adapt to meet the requirements for each of these 3 factors. For increasing production, we can scale up in the traditional sense, from bench scale to 5,000 liter in microbial or 20,000 liter in mammalian. And that's ideal for our commercial customers who need kilogram quantities of product every year. And a 20,000 litre stainless steel facility is a perfect fit for this part of the life cycle. We can also scale down. So scaling down is just as important as scaling up, because there are times when customers' products reach the end of their life cycle and the commercial supply has to wind down in line with the demand. And so we have to make sure that capacity and cost remain aligned for those customers. And then finally, we can scale out to increase production. And this is particularly important for customers who are in the middle of the product life cycles, where they need an intermittent demand and they require agility and flexibility. So we do this using our Borealis facility and scale out. This has a multi-lane, multi-suite architecture, which allows many upstream and downstream batches of the same product to run in parallel under one roof. This gives us a massive advantage as it allows us to increase production capacity quickly and cleanly when we need to, without the need to transfer that process to a new facility or buy new, bigger equipment or even re-engineer the process. So scaling up, scaling down, and scaling out are all examples of a change in production capacity. However, scale on is a game changer to us. It allows a change in productivity, not just production. And for this, Symphonex is a key enabler for us. So I'm going to share a couple of examples where we use Symphonex to enable scale-on processes. The first one is where we link multiple Symphonex systems and downstream unit operations together into what we call a connected, semi-continuous parallel cycling mode. So a bit of a mouthful, and you're probably wondering, what does that mean? So let me try and break it down for you. So a traditional customer process, let's imagine it's got 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. And in each step, you have 3 cycles. So in a batch mode, in the first step, you would do 3 cycles, and only when they're complete, you would then move on to the next step and do the 3 cycles, and then move on to the 3rd step. So this is a little bit slow and clunky. And what we can do with connected parallel processing is during the first step, in the first cycle, once that's complete, we can immediately move on to the 2nd step in the first cycle. And thereon, after that, we can do parallel cycling of each step, and that accelerates the process and allows you to complete it in a shorter time, sometimes up to 40% shorter, which can significantly increase facility throughput. But scale-on doesn't just have that throughput advantage. It can reduce equipment and consumable scale, which is very important for our customers because that reduces cost of goods significantly. And then finally, by parallel cycling, we can reduce hold times, which is very, very important for some customers whose products have stability issues during processing. So you can see numerous advantages just by one mode of scale-on operation. However, scale-on doesn't have to just be semi-continuous parallel processing. It can be fully continuous. So again, in our Borealis facility, we operate it using our MyroX platform, where we couple a dyno-drive perfusion bioreactor, and that feeds directly into a multi-Symphonex downstream. And this provides consistent material flow, and again, minimal hold times and higher productivity. So scaling is not just about making production bigger. It's now about making product supply more agile through connected and continuous operations. And we've used our different scaling strategies to allow the FUJIFILM manufacturing ecosystem to now be flexible, efficient, and responsive across every phase of a product's life cycle.
And Azam, we know a global platform can make a big difference. What advantages do innovators gain when processes, equipment, and operator expertise are aligned across sites? And how does that consistency help reduce development risk as programs move through clinical milestones?
So CodeUX is our global standardization process that influences many components within the FUJIFILM manufacturing ecosystem. So our CodeUX philosophy defines how we design, operate, and digitalize our manufacturing environments so the performance is more predictable at whichever site a program is executed across the FUJIFILM network. And we have many different examples of how Kojo influences our daily life and manufacturing ecosystem. So the first one is it enables us to standardize our single-use facilities, such as Borealis. It gives them a consistent modular blueprint with multi-lane layouts, harmonized suite configurations, and unified single-use workflows. So this consistent architecture therefore reduces the complexity of moving programs between different modular facilities at different sites during the product life cycle. CodeUX also mandates a harmonized equipment approach by using the same equipment families like Symphonex across the global network. We can qualify these systems once, and then we can leverage that qualification experience and knowledge at other sites with greatly reduced effort. And this family-based approach reduces the validation burden, it accelerates facility readiness, and it really helps our operators to build a deeper expertise because they're always using the same piece of equipment and interfaces for every process. CodeUX also defines our process development, and we put guardrails in place to ensure that all of our processes are developed with defined operating ranges that are always aligned with our equipment and facility capabilities. So this really helps to strengthen the reliability and consistency of our programs as they advance through the product lifecycle. And then finally, CodeUX also integrates a unified digital backbone across our modular facilities, where harmonized control systems like PCS and electronic documentation platforms like EBMRs make data capture, review, and release much more seamless. And we can go a level further by incorporating these advanced digital systems into our connected and continuous processing formats. This really lays the foundation for higher levels of automation, and it paves the way towards true future lights-out manufacturing. So CodeUX has many benefits for our customers: reduced development risks, fewer deviations, faster alignment across global teams and sites, and a lower equipment qualification and training burdens. So CodeUX ensures that wherever a program is executed at FUJIFILM, be it in the UK, Europe, or the US, it operates as part of one consistent and reliable manufacturing ecosystem.
Thank you, Azam. And for our final question, Tibor, I'll come back to you. With sustainability now being a core expectation, how do reusable disposable flow paths, lower reliance on water and steam, and more energy-efficient operations help reduce environmental impact, all while still keeping the speed and flexibility needed for modern biologics development?
It's a great question. And the good thing is in the modern single-use facility, what we built, for example, in the Borealis, reducing the environmental footprint is not compromising the operational efficiency. So I'm thinking about this three areas, what you already mentioned in the question. One of them is the water usage. The other is the energy efficiency, improving the energy efficiency. The third one is reducing the material and waste. And the fourth one basically is that we have got flexibility in these facilities and we haven't got any trade-off. We're not sacrificing anything because we have got high flexibility. So go back to the first one, the water usage. I already mentioned in one of the questions that in the single-use facility, we don't need CIP, the clean in place. And we don't need a sterilize in place. And this is remove huge amount of volume of water for injection. And generating water for injection is quite expensive activity. We don't need cleaning solution, and we don't need a lot of rinsing cycles. So this itself is reducing significantly the water usage. The other area related to the water minimization, that if we using advanced buffer management, which is built in our equipment, the Symphonex equipment, the water on demand and the right size buffer strategy can reduce the storage tank needs, and this generating less transport requirement as well. So this again, it's very important for the sustainability. The other big area is the energy efficiency. So straight away, go to the first point, no steam, no CIP. It means that no boiler and no gas burn. So without these things, we can eliminate the gas-fired boiler and all the associated heating, cooling loops in the system. We can be used much smarter Wi-Fi generation, and this is what we're using in Borealis. We're using ozonated, or sometimes it's called cold water for injection system. So it's completely reduced the heat up the water, and therefore significantly reduce the energy demand of the generation. It can be used fully renewable electricity for generating this water. The third things in this energy area is the lower utility footprint. The single-use skids are usually modular, smaller system than the stainless steel. It means you need usually you can use smaller rooms. It means less HVAC system and less heat rejection. This is again helping to reducing the energy. You can build in the new facilities energy recovery system. It's most of the time is heat recovery system. So we can capture waste heat from, for example, the compressed air pump, and we can use heat exchanger and can be directed back to the heatings or the hot water or any other heat required step. The third big area is reducing the material and waste. So one of the big criticisms for the single-use system, single-use facilities, that they throw it away a lot of plastics. So what we designed into the Symfonex, we not call it anymore single-use, we call it disposable. It means that we can reuse the flow path within a validated campaign window. So we can use it 5 or even more batches for the same flow path, which can reduce significantly the incineration cost. So the fourth point is a flexibility without trade-off. So we can increase the operational efficiency while we can decrease the water usage, energy efficiency and reducing the material and waste. So how can we achieve this? We have got a rapid reconfiguration in these facilities. This flexible facility shell can be repurposed between modalities. We can very quickly turn over the facility to making a different modality like VGT, or we can make antibody production or other microbial or mammalian processes. This helps to preserve the capital, so we don't have to invest again, and obviously reducing the carbon footprint because of the eliminating the rebuilding the facility. So fast change over the other one. The single-use flow path on the skid makes very easy turnover, and it obviously helps the sustainability and not slowing down the batch readiness, so we can deliver the product in the clinic in time. We can do right size processing using the high turn-door ratio bioreactor. We can configure it. The downstream can be batch, connected, or continuous, and we always can match the run size to the need, avoiding overproduction and excess utilities. So the bottom line, by removing the steam, the CIP from the facility and process, and optimizing the water for injection and buffer management, reusing the flow path and designing the facility for the energy recovery, we can shrink the environmental footprint significantly. The facilities still remain modular, configurable, therefore we maintain the speed, agility, which required by modern biologics programs.
Well, thank you very much, Azam and Tibor, for speaking with us today. We really appreciate your time and insights.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you for your great questions.
Yeah, thank you for the interview and thank you for the questions.
We look forward to following how these next generation single-use approaches continue to support innovators as they advance new biologics through development. Thank you all for joining us for this Xtalks Spotlight feature. We hope you enjoyed the discussion.